part of it is money, right? Like resources. Like I've been like a skinny Asian kid my whole life until I realized my first paycheck where I was like, I can get a steak and the app and the dessert and a drink, you know, because I didn't grow up like that. It was just like, we didn't, first of all, we didn't go out. And if you did, you're not getting,
is there like, is it official you are the wealthiest painter alive?
Yes.
I got to ask my question then. What was the first thing you did with your first big paycheck? What would you buy?
Steak and an appetizer.
Just a steak and I mean, you didn't
well,
just say fuck it, like
this is the it's not a sexy answer, but I think this is must be nice. Must be nice to be rich, right? Must be nice to have your own Sprinter van, like. Oh, if I had, you know, all the haters and like, oh, if I had your money, I would do, you know, and I go, I do the same shit when I was poor, you know, like, it's like, you've done, you get this, right? You're like, must be nice to be Jackass 4 in a multi-million, and you're like, wait, like, I was doing stunts when I had nothing with grocery carts, like, so it's a weird thing to say to someone, like, I hitchhiked all over the world before I had a dime. I begged for rides. I begged to stay at people's houses. I was a world traveler with no money, right?
Yeah.
I've paint. I used to steal spray paint and just paint. Like food that I couldn't afford, I would shoplift. So like, I'm not, you know, saying you should do this, but I did whatever I wanted. Right. So when the money hit the bank account, not that it's not important, it just was like, whatever. You know, and then I did all the pitfalls. I bought all the cars. I bought all the shit. And I was like, I don't need any of this stuff. Like, my life is very simple, right? Like, and it's like, I don't have that much stuff now. Like, I'm trying to go more minimal. And almost all my resources and time is to just, like, helping people and doing that. But, you know, the headlines is, like, richest artist in the world. And to be honest, like, when I met Mark Zuckerberg and Sean Parker, I didn't believe in their company. And, you know, I've talked about all this stuff, and I wasn't on social media, and I probably still wouldn't be on. I mean, I'm on social, I have a social media presence, but it's not me. Like my social, you know, I know this is all douchey shit. My social media team does that, you know? And so, yeah, I was like Facebook, MySpace. I don't like what I have friends. Like, I don't need this shit. It seems so stupid. So when Facebook started taking over MySpace, because you remember how gigantic that was, I wasn't even paying attention. So like my whole life is gambling. So I have all these things that I would bet on, and some of them paid off and some of them didn't. And that was one that was paying off, but I wasn't even paying attention to it because my art career was taking off. My paintings were selling for like more money than I, you know, but I wasn't like as well known, and the gambling was taking off. I mean, I was
started winning.
I figured I kind of don't like talking about it because
you don't want to encourage people to gamble.
I don't, because people hit you up all the time about how to be like Steve-O or Jack, you know, all that kind of shit, and it's this is what I would say, because my art teacher caught me once giving advice after I caught up, and he's like, you know, the advice you give is very dangerous because you're giving it to like normal people who aren't like you. And I think you and I know this sounds very like braggadocious, but I think we're really good at making it look like we're just having a good time and fucking around and making it look easy and just acting stupid and crazy. And it doesn't account for the years of discipline and all the boring shit that we don't show, right? Like, oh, look at that guy, he's just throwing paint. I'm like, bro, do you know what I do after the camera's off? I just, and like, the clown school you went to, the stunt, like all this fucking practice. And then when the camera's on, you just do it and you're like, oh, he's just fucking around. So, you know, yeah. So people, it's more fun. It's more fun for me when I read the headlines, even like it's when I go watch the Social Network movie by David Fincher. It's like
I liked that movie.
It's fucking awesome, but it's just not true most of it.
Time
I was there for all of it. I'm like, wow, that is like the most exaggerated, like intense, like Hollywood made up version, and it was just not that. you know, yeah, sure, it happened, right?
Is there a documentary version of it that's actually accurate?
I'm trying to think. Maybe the documentary version would be even more crazy.
Every time I think about Mark Zuckerberg, I think about the actor that played him in the movie.
And
He
like,
was epic.
and I'm friends with Sean Parker, and then when I think about, hey, like Justin,
Sean Parker is the Napster guy.
yeah.
Right.
Justin
okay.
Timberlake.
Yeah, and him
JT.
goes, you know, $1 million, you know what's cool? $1 billion, or like,
Yeah, yeah,
How about just? How about just?
America. If you thought Jackass Forever was crazy, oh boy, do I have a show for you. It's a multimedia comedy show called The Bucket List Tour. And the stuff I filmed for this show is way too hot for Jackass. Like the general anesthesia bike ride, the vasectomy Olympics, and skyjacking. The footage is so intense, we have full-grown men passing out at almost every city this bus goes to. So if you think you can handle it, get your tickets right now at stevo.com.